Go, team!
At a glance, it's pretty easy to get an idea of what Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind is. A co-op arcade-style beat-em-up with gorgeous sprite art, bearing some very clear similarities to 2022's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge all the way down to the naming convention. However, after kicking, punching, and morphing through the first 2 episodes, I'm happy to report that it's more than just a palette swap, and developer Digital Eclipse clearly understood the assignment, but also wasn't afraid to get creative in the margins. For starters, the premise is a fun fan-fictional remix. In the far-off year of 2023, Robo-Rita Repulsa, who apparently has the same plastic surgeon as Frieza, is facing defeat by Angel Grove's teenage protectors. Assuming these are the same Rangers from the original series, they're at least in their late 40s at this point. Either way, that's a non-issue because Robo-Rita decides to travel back in time and join forces with her younger, less cybernetically augmented self to put an end to her enemies back when they were still in high school. There's no shortage of Easter eggs and fan service, but Robo-Rita isn't going back in time just to make the same mistakes all over again, so Rita's Rewind is really more of a remix. Anyone who knows the original series inside and out is in for some surprises. For instance, a boss fight against Chunky Chicken, an early Monster of the Week villain from the first season, has a second phase where an additional poultry-themed enemy appears, Turkey Jerk, who appeared in the second season. It's a cute joke at face value, but the deep-cut reference here is that in the original series, Chunky Chicken's costume was repainted and retooled to make turkey jerks, so basically the analog kaiju suit version of a palette swap.
Hey, that's a foul play!
Like I said, the team at Digital Eclipse did their homework. If you've ever played a side-scrolling beat-em-up, you're already familiar with the core gameplay.
Choose your ranger.
Up to 5 players team up, locally or online, and gradually move their favorite Power Ranger towards stage left.
Good luck, Rangers.
Our heroes have to stop about every 20 feet to beat the crap out of a small army of Rita Repulsa's goons, like Putty Patrollers and Tango Warriors, as well as any trash can, crate, or mailbox that looks like it might have health-restoring junk food hidden inside. Combat is one basic attack that can be combined with directional inputs to string together some rudimentary combos, plus one ultimate attack that can be activated when a meter is full. The ultimate attacks are appropriately over the top, and triggering one for the first time put a huge grin on my face. If I was 7 years old, I would have been jumping up and down on the couch and immediately kicked out of this preview event. Periodically, a Putty Patroller will show up holding an enormous cylinder with a green crystal in it, and if the Rangers don't destroy it in time, it'll trigger an explosive time warp effect that deals damage but also rewinds the game to moments earlier, a la Braid. The game's visuals generally do a really good job creating the illusion that this is a retro game, all the way down to a CRT filter. The time warp effect breaks this illusion in a really cool way, making it seem for a moment like you're playing on an arcade cabinet that is about to short circuit and maybe electrocute you. Where Rita's Rewind really sets itself apart from Shredder's Revenge is its superscalar levels, which shake up the 2D side-scroller formula with fast-paced pseudo-3D sequences reminiscent of classic Sega arcade games like Outrun or Afterburner or the Super Nintendo's Mode 7 technology. As much fun as beat-em-ups are, these act as nice palette cleansers between levels, and they're really cleverly utilized in the context of Power Rangers. The original television show regularly followed a pretty familiar format. A monster of the week would appear, and after the Rangers seemingly defeated said monster in hand-to-hand combat, Rita Repulsa would utter those infamously suggestive words, "Make my monster grow," at which point the fight would continue on a much larger scale, with the Rangers first making use of their individual Dinozords before inevitably joining them together to form the Dino Megazord and save the day. Rita's Rewind is broken up into episodes. The first one featured 2 stages of inter-city beat-em-up gameplay, culminating in a boss fight against Goldar on a rooftop. After he was sufficiently pummeled by lycra-clad teens, Robo-Rita supersized him and he flew off. A brief cutscene showed the Rangers hopping into Zords, and the next sequence was a 3D shoot-em-up, which was immediately reminiscent of the original Star Fox on Super NES. This is fitting since Star Fox was released the same year Rita's Rewind takes place, and also when Power Rangers was at peak popularity, so this serves up a nice double dose of nostalgia. After using the Zords to blow up a generator in some suspicious mining operation while dodging lasers, the moment had arrived. It was time to form the Dino Megazord. But wait, hold on. The same lingering question that I had after so many Power Rangers episodes growing up also applies to Rita's Rewind. How do multiple people cooperatively pilot a single humanoid mech? I'm still not sure what the canonical explanation is, but in the case of the video game, it takes a cue from a very different type of couch co-op. passing a controller back and forth when someone dies or beats a level. After a satisfyingly low-poly transformation sequence, the perspective shifted to the Dino Megazord's cockpit, squared up to duke it out with Goldar Punch-Out style.
More phenomenal!
Rather than Goldar having a conventional health bar that's depleted, the Dino Megazord's power sword is instead displayed at the top of the screen with several small sections running along the blade. Landing enough punches against Goldar will gradually fill one of these sections up, at which point it's the next ranger's turn. Conversely, a player's turn will also end abruptly if Goldar lands an attack. Completely filling all the meters all the way up will activate the power sword, which is then used to finish off the bad guy with a quick time event where everyone cooperatively button mashes, which evidently caught some of us off guard when we were capturing this gameplay. Nobody actually has to pass the controller around, it just switches between players, but the idea is the same. It's entirely possible a similar solution for cooperative Zord piloting has been implemented in one of the many Power Rangers games released in the last 30 years, but I still thought it was a clever solution. Waiting your turn might not be as fun as getting to drive the Megazord yourself the whole time, but if you're playing with friends, you'll likely find yourself cheering each other on or groaning when they take a hit. In between episodes, the Rangers change into their civvies and regroup at the Angel Grove Youth Center. While knocking back a few cold ones at Ernie's Juice Bar, they can listen to Bulk and Skull take credit for defeating the previous episode's villains. In case Rita's Rewind wasn't arcadey enough already, playable arcade cabinets can also be unlocked for the Youth Center. We got to see Drive Bomber, a made-up racing shmup hybrid in which a car can launch bombs into its own path and will promptly explode if it drives over them, which is hilariously difficult and also entirely optional.
Anyone got an aspirin?
Controls-wise, the basic beat-em-up combat is very satisfying, though at times it can be hard to tell what's going on when the screen is flooded with enemies. It was chaotic with 3 of us playing, and I imagine the full 5-person team is borderline comical. The driving sequences are appropriately hectic, while the Megazord boxing match is a bit clunky, but so is the source material. Serious gamers with a trained eye for hitboxes and frame data may find something to nitpick, but ultimately, that's missing the point. Rita's Rewind is a game for people chasing that high of renting the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Super Nintendo game and staying up too late trying to beat it at a sleepover.
Okay, we got this!
Or for people who grew up wishing there was a Power Rangers arcade cabinet at their local pizzeria wedged between the Uncanny X-Men and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Despite Power Rangers' rise to popularity in the heyday of arcade beat-em-ups, it somehow never got a proper one. From what I've seen of Rita's Rewind so far, Digital Eclipse is making a valiant and long overdue effort to remedy that, and best of all, you don't have to go ask your mom for quarters every time you die. For another look at an upcoming throwback beat-em-up, check out the trailer for G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra, and for everything gaming, new, old, and in between, keep it right here on IGN.